number one, this is one you've heard heaps, I'm sure. We've got better things to do than this trial. Let's move on. Let's go forward. This trial it's a foregone conclusion. We know he's not going to be convicted. Move on.
Better things to do, like blocking all of Biden's agenda.
Yeah, exactly. Have some fun. Yeah. I would argue you don't have better things to do, even if you weren't blocking all of Biden's agenda. There is a good reason to hold this trial. And I'm speaking as someone who is against the first impeachment. Like I'm sure, I don't know if either of you ever listen to what I say, but if you do, you would know that I was never a fan of the first impeachment. But this one, I'm a big fan of. And the reason for that is because you're trying to stop a precedent being set, a real precedent that could well come back. And like a lot of people say, well, it didn't work. It was a joke. The stop the steal thing just collapsed in a heap. It didn't get anywhere. But can you imagine what would have happened if the Georgian Secretary of State wasn't really, really honest and really brave, for that matter? It copped a lot of shit and death threats and all the rest of it. And or Aaron Van Langeveld on the board of state canvassers for Michigan, who was just a shit kicker, who the entire country was jumping on for one day exactly. Was he going to certify the electors in Michigan or not? Now, if he hadn't been the other guy, there were two Republicans. The other guy did not. If Aaron Van Langeveld had any sense of self-preservation, he would have joined that guy. And then I don't know what would have happened, because that was the first domino to drop, Michigan. If that hadn't dropped, it could have been a completely different story. And, you say, now next time, it might not happen like that. And I'll tell you why. Because they've already replaced Aaron Van Langeveld. He does not exist anymore, at least not in that position. They've now got a stooge. So the next time that happens, it's going to be different.
Yeah.
I promise you the next Georgian Secretary of State, if they're a Republican, are not going to be like Raffsperger. Like, they're going to make sure the next guy that runs is going to be a stooge.
Yes.
So take two could be very, very different, especially if the vote is closer. Remember, this is pretty comfortable in the end.
Yes.
If it's really close, it might. So the only thing that's going to stop this bullshit happening again is if there's a precedent. If you do this, we are going to stomp the fuck out of you. That's the only thing that's going to stop. So as far as I'm concerned, I want to see. This is not because it's not anti-Trump stuff from me. This is not, I hate Trump, Trump derangement, just get Trump. No, I just want the person who introduces this wild card to be ruined, to make sure that the next person does not introduce this wild card.
And there's another important precedent as well, which is you don't want to say that Republicans are arguing that you can't impeach Trump because he's gone. If you decide that is the rule, then there's no enforcement in the last days of a president in office.
The last month.
So the precedent that you're setting, I mean, if it's a month out, you can impeach him within the month, but
you can't try him in a month.
Yeah.
If it's a real trial.
Yeah. And it's like the precedent that they are proposing to set is that in the last month of office, a president can do anything he wants, and the legislator can't do shit about it.
And
that's a terrible precedent for Republicans as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And anything he wants can include things to thwart the election that was just held, to therefore guarantee that you do not get voted out.
But also just all kinds of stuff that, we can't even imagine, but things that could hurt a lot of people, ordinary people even. So it's an insane thing. And, people talk about the precedent setting by stripping Marjorie Taylor Greene of a committee assignment. I mean, this is another thing that can go both ways. If a Democrat is in their last days in office, they could do some crazy shit that Republicans won't be able to do anything about.
Absolutely. And by the way, when I say ruin him, I don't mean, I'm not talking a hardball kind of stuff. What I'm saying is they shouldn't, in my view, they shouldn't be holding the impeachment trial in the Senate. They should be holding it in a committee where they can spend 6 months on this thing. Like I'm scared stiff they're going to do a 3-day job, and they're just going to go, hey, how about that speech you gave? Oh, let's watch that speech again. That was a bad speech. Let's vote. Oh, we lost. Okay, let's move on. No. I want to see a committee where they can spend 6 months subpoenaing every witness, including Trump. I want to see every single person go all the way to the Supreme Court to make sure that they follow subpoenas. And I want them on the record. And I just want them to go through every single bit of evidence. There's no rush. You're not going to get a conviction, guys. A spoiler. You can still do your business if it's in the committee. If it's in the committee, that the witnesses go through the committee, and then after the committee's finished getting every single statement, going through all the subpoenas, then they have the trial in 9 months' time. They can have their 3-day trial then, looking at all the evidence that they've then got. That's what I want to see. I want to see them go all the way. And they're not going to, but to me, that is the only way to guarantee that this is not going to happen again.
Yes.
But unfortunately, they're not going to do that.
Not going to happen.